Welcome to the Deep Dive. Have you ever looked at your packed calendar and thought, okay, at least I'm making progress, but your body felt, I don't know, tight, anxious, already behind?
Hmm.
Or maybe you've been praised for consistency, for discipline, yet deep down you knew it was fueled by something you don't actually enjoy.
Right, that disconnect.
Have you ever paused long enough to wonder, what if all this effort, all this climbing, is actually carrying me further from myself, not closer?
That's a powerful question.
Just take a moment with that thought. If you've ever questioned whether the life you're building is truly yours, if your body feels tired no matter how much progress you seem to make, then this deep dive is definitely for you.
Yeah.
Climb the staircase, breath by breath, with compassion and presence we rise from stress, from fear to peace, from shame to grace. Climb the staircase to sovereignty.
So this conversation today is inspired by a really insightful article by Helen Mudeva called "What Ladder Are You Climbing? Reclaiming Meaning, Sensation, and Truth on the Path to the Top."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it really delves into that moment of realization, doesn't it? When we figure out we might have been chasing a version of success rooted not in real meaning, but, well, in fear.
Exactly, fear. And the unsettling idea that maybe we've been climbing a ladder that wasn't even ours to begin with.
Yeah. So we're going to unpack that tension, the friction that builds up when our external drive, what we do, our actions, just doesn't match our internal truth anymore, who we really are.
It's that feeling when the blueprint we inherited, maybe from family or society or just expectations we picked up,
Yeah,
it starts feeling less like a map and more like a cage, right?
totally. Like a burden.
And it's so critical, as the article points out, to understand why people even start climbing these wrong ladders. Often it's not really conscious, it's an escape.
But escape from what, usually?
Well, it could be trying to outrun a childhood where you felt something was lacking, or maybe a constant fear of being left behind, or just that nagging feeling of, never being quite good enough.
That sounds familiar for many, I think.
Absolutely. And from the outside, this climb, it can look really impressive. You see people pushing hard, achieving things, getting praised for their discipline.
Right, they look successful.
But underneath, the fuel is often this really fragile belief, like maybe this next achievement, this next rung, will finally bring that feeling of safety or worthiness or enoughness.
And our bodies,
Yeah.
they often know first, don't they?
Right.
Before our conscious mind catches on.
Oh, absolutely. The body is sending signals constantly, that persistent tightness in your shoulders you can't shake, or maybe you catch yourself clenching your jaw all the time.
Or just feeling like you can never take a full deep breath.
Exactly, that shallow breathing. And even when you hit a major goal, you get the promotion, you finish the project, there's still this underlying tension, or maybe worse, a kind of numbness.
Like reaching the summit and finding it. Hollow. Empty.
Precisely, a hollow victory. And those internal signals, they're just the start. The article makes a great point that they often escalate.
How so?
Well, it might become chronic fatigue that sleep doesn't fix, or persistent aches and pains that don't have a clear medical cause. Even relationships start to feel strained or empty despite your best effort.
It's like the misalignment starts to bleed into everything.
It does. And sometimes life itself steps in with, let's call them external signals, projects that inexplicably fail, doors closing that were always open,
Almost like the universe giving you a nudge.
or sometimes a full-on shove. As the article puts it so powerfully, sometimes the ladder is meant to snap. Life intervenes to redirect us.
Wow. Sometimes the ladder's meant to snap. That really lands.
It's a wake-up call.
So how do we navigate this inner landscape when things feel so off? The article introduces a framework for this, right? The staircase to sovereignty.
Yes, exactly. It's presented not as a linear climb, but more like a spiral, a tool for reflection. It helps us understand where we are emotionally through 6 levels.
Okay, let's break those down a bit. What's the first level?
The first is survival. This is really primal. Your body is basically ruled by fear. Your nervous system is just craving certainty, control, safety above all else.
Fight or flight mode, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh.
Then comes stability. Here, control itself becomes the main coping mechanism. We might become rigid in our routines, our beliefs, trying to manage that underlying fear.
Okay, trying to create order. What's next?
Awareness. This is a huge turning point. It's when we start to actually witness ourselves honestly. Observing our thoughts, our feelings, our reactions without immediately judging them.
Just noticing.
Just noticing. And from awareness, we can move into integrity. This is where we begin to act in alignment with our inner truth, making choices based on what genuinely feels right and authentic for us, not for others.
That sounds like where things really start to shift.
Definitely. Then there's wholeness. This is about acceptance, accepting all parts of ourselves, even the messy bits, the parts we might have tried to hide or deny before.
Embracing the shadow self, maybe?
In a way, yes, accepting the full spectrum. And finally, freedom. This isn't about escaping anything, but returning to our own self-guided power, living a life that truly reflects our deepest, most authentic truth.
So survival, stability, awareness, integrity, wholeness, freedom.
That's the sequence, but again, it's crucial to remember it's not a checklist.
Right. Not step one, step two.
Not at all. It's messy, it's spiral. You might be feeling pretty solid in integrity, then something happens and you dip back into stability or even survival for a bit.
Especially during a crisis, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. Crisis can make us jump levels or circle back quite rapidly. The framework is really a mirror, helping us see where we're climbing from. Is it fear? Is it pressure? Is it a genuine longing or clarity?
That makes sense. It's a tool for self-understanding, not a race.
Precisely.
Now, to make this more concrete, the article gives us two really powerful stories, doesn't it? Marcus and Sarah.
Yes, and they illustrate different ways this plays out. Marcus's story is quite dramatic, his ladder literally breaking.
Right, the academic ladder that just couldn't hold his weight anymore, physically or emotionally. It shows what happens when life basically forces you to stop.
And then Sarah's story offers a different perspective. Hers is more of a quieter awakening, a gradual realization that she was climbing toward this impossible standard of perfect motherhood.
And she shows that you can actually shift the staircase, right? It doesn't always have to break. You can choose to rebuild or reroute.
Exactly. It highlights the possibility of conscious change before the breaking point.
So these stories really frame the core questions for us. What's the real cost, the hidden cost, maybe, of climbing a ladder that isn't truly ours?
And on the flip side, what becomes possible? What new life opens up when we dare to build one that actually resonates with who we are?
Let's dive into Marcus first. His journey sounds intense. 15 years climbing the academic ladder, PhD, tenure track, publications.
Yeah, ticking all the external boxes. He was, by all accounts, successful in his field.
But his body was telling a completely different story. Feeling like lead, heavy shoulders, digestive problems, insomnia, tension headaches, even hand tremors.
Wow. Yeah, really significant physical manifestations. And like so many high achievers, Marcus initially just wrote it off. Oh, this is just the pressure of academia. It's normal.
He was deep in that stability level we talked about, wasn't he?
Oh.
Trying to control everything, push through, probably driven by those underlying survival patterns.
Absolutely. Fear of not being smart enough, fear of losing his standing. His body was screaming for attention, but his mind was locked in this rigid, must-keep-going mode.
And then the external world started reflecting the internal chaos. Grant falling through, collaborations imploding, rejections.
Exactly. Like the universe was amplifying the message. Each setback hit harder, making the physical symptoms worse, increasing irritability. His whole system was overloaded.
Until the breaking point. Panic attack in a meeting.
Yeah.
Leading to the ER.
Yes. That was the moment the ladder snapped, unequivocally. And paradoxically, in that stark, clinical environment of the hospital room, he found a kind of stillness.
A forced pause.
A forced pause that created space. It was the first real quiet he'd had in years, and in that quiet, the truth landed. He was climbing the wrong ladder. That crisis catapulted him from stability right into a profound moment of awareness.
That must have been terrifying, but also liberating.
Both, I imagine. Utterly terrifying, but ultimately freeing. He took medical leave, and crucially, he started listening. Not just hearing the noise, but listening to his body.
What did he notice?
Simple things, really. How his body physically relaxed when he was in nature. How his mind felt alive and engaged talking with students, not competing with colleagues. He saw how much of his own genuine curiosity he'd sacrificed on the altar of career advancement.
So that awareness allowed him to start touching integrity, making choices aligned with his actual truth, not just his CV.
Precisely. And it wasn't a straight line, of course. The article mentions him spiraling back into survival patterns at times, that old achievement drive kicking in.
That's realistic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Habits are hard to break.
Very. But increasingly, he chose integrity. He built a new path teaching at a community college, writing for a broader audience, research that actually meant something to him personally.
And that felt different, energizing.
Incredibly so, according to the article. He was moving towards freedom, building a life on his own terms, finally letting go of those external metrics that had driven him for so long.
This is a powerful example of a forced awakening. Now, Sarah's story offers a different angle, right? Her wrong ladder was this ideal of the perfect single mother.
Yes. After her divorce, she poured everything into that role, being indispensable, strong, never needing help. Her identity got completely wrapped up in being eternally capable.
Operating from that very rigid stability level again, it sounds like. No room for her own needs or vulnerability.
Exactly. And her body sent signals too, but maybe more subtle ones initially. Persistent fatigue, this growing resentment simmering underneath, chronic back pain, digestive issues.
Things easily dismissed as just stress or part of life.
Right. Classic survival coping, ignore it, push through it. But the signals got louder. Her teenage daughter pulling away, saying she was too much. Work suffering. Friends drifting away because she couldn't receive support.
Ouch. So each relationship became like another rung, taking her further away from connection, not closer.
That's a good way to put it. But unlike Marcus, she didn't have a dramatic crash. Her shift into awareness was quieter, more gradual.
What triggered it?
As a simple moment, actually. Folding laundry, she caught her reflection in a window, saw her posture, hunched shoulders, tight jaw, the look of someone carrying immense weight, and she realized she didn't recognize herself. She felt like a stranger.
Just a quiet moment of seeing herself clearly.
That moment of profound awareness was her turning point. It sparked the shift.
And how did she start changing things? Not a huge overhaul immediately.
No, small steps. That's key. She didn't stop being a mother, but she started questioning the beliefs driving her relentless climb. Simple acts of integrity followed. Accepting a friend's offer to help with carpooling, saying no to a volunteer thing that would overstretch her, asking for help with groceries when she felt overwhelmed. Tiny shifts, but huge internally.
Allowing herself to receive.
Yeah,
To be human.
exactly. And her journey through the staircase was also nonlinear, as you'd expect. Some days she acted from integrity, aligned with her values. Other days, anxiety flared and she'd grip control again, dipping back into survival.
The spiral.
The spiral. But increasingly, she found moments of wholeness, accepting her needs, her uncertainties, the parts that didn't have it all together.
And what did her ladder become then?
It transformed, less of a rigid climb, more like a dance, the article suggests, a dance with life's rhythms. Her relationships deepened. She modeled real self-care for her kids. She moved towards her own version of freedom.
Two very different paths, but arriving at a similar place of questioning the climb itself.
Yes. And it brings us to that core realization, doesn't it? So many of us start climbing because we want to feel safe or worthy or just plain enough.
We buy into the idea, maybe unconsciously, that if we just achieve X, Y, or Z, then those good feelings will automatically follow.
Right. The achievement comes first, the feeling follows. But what if that whole model is flawed? What if the path to genuine safety, to feeling okay, actually begins with honesty, radical honesty about where we are now?
And what if feeling tired isn't a sign we're failing, but maybe a sign that something inside us is ready for a change? A deep cue from our body.
Exactly. Which brings us back to that powerful line. Sometimes the ladder's meant to snap. Maybe our bodies rebel, maybe life throws obstacles, precisely to save us from continuing down a path that was ultimately depleting us, that wasn't ours.
It's about remembering who we are underneath all the striving, the shoulds, the external definitions of success.
Finding that core self again.
So as we walk through Marcus and Sarah's journeys and this staircase framework, it's important for listeners to remember. Sovereignty isn't achieved in neat, straight lines.
Not at all. Presence matters more than perfection here. Being aware of where you are is the key.
Okay, maybe we can offer some reflection prompts based on those levels, just to help listeners check in with themselves. I'll pause briefly after each one.
Good idea.
All right, starting with survival. What am I afraid will happen if I stop pushing so hard?
Now, thinking about stability. What am I trying to control right now so I can feel safe?
Moving into awareness. Where do I feel that tension, that gap between how I currently live and how I deep down long to live?
Your integrity. What truth, maybe just for myself right now, have I been too afraid to name?
Considering wholeness. Can I hold space with compassion for the version of me that kept going, the one that pushed through even when it hurt?
And looking towards freedom, what would it actually feel like to build a life based on meaning, genuine meaning, not just relentless momentum?
Just sit with those for a moment. Wherever you landed, whatever came up, it's okay. You are not wrong for wanting to feel safe. That's a fundamental human need.
And you're certainly not weak for realizing that the path you've been on, maybe for a long time, just doesn't fit anymore. That takes courage to see.
Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is just pause, take a breath, and ask that question. Whose ladder is this, really?
And what would it look like? What might it feel like to start building my own, even if it's just one small step?
Because real power, true sovereignty, isn't measured by how high we climb on someone else's ladder. It's found in how honestly, how authentically we walk each step of our own path.
Sovereignty really begins when we come home to ourselves, to what feels real and steady and true within us.
Now, just a gentle reminder, this reflection, this deep dive, it's food for thought, but it's not a replacement for therapy or professional support.
Absolutely. If anything we've discussed feels overwhelming or brings up difficult emotions, please do reach out for professional help. You don't have to navigate this alone.
Definitely not. And if you are looking for some practical tools to continue this exploration, we do have a couple of resources linked to this deep dive.
What have we got?
First, there's a free PDF outlining the Staircase to Sovereignty framework itself, which you can find linked in the first comment wherever you're listening. That comes directly from Helen Mudiba's work.
Great.
And second, there's a journal called Your Path to Choosing Joy, which is available on Amazon. It's a 21-day guided journal specifically designed to help you reconnect with your own inner truth, especially during times of transition.
Sounds helpful. What does it do?
It guides you through practices for inward regulation, for listening to yourself, and helps you start seeing reflections in the outer world of what you're uncovering within, kind of bridging that inner and outer experience.
Nice. Practical steps.
Exactly. So thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. Thank you for daring to ask these big, important questions alongside us.
Yeah, these aren't easy questions, but they're vital. We really hope this conversation sparks something for you on your own journey of self-discovery and finding what truly matters.
Remember the power of conscious choice, the simple strength of being present with yourself. That's always available to you.
It's the foundation for building a life that genuinely reflects who you are, step by honest step.
Climb the staircase, breath by breath, with compassion and presence we rise from stress, from fear to peace, from shame to grace. Climb the staircase to sovereignty. When you feel unsafe, too much to bear, you shut down or flare, you vanish or glare, your heart beats fast, your breath runs tight, you just want out or to make it right. That's survival, the you that just wants to survive.
What you feel is complete powerlessness, a cry for safety, not for success.
Climb the staircase, breath by breath, with compassion and presence we rise from stress, from fear to peace, from shame to grace. Climb the staircase to sovereignty. When you feel the pressure to fix or prove, you hustle hard, you never stop or move. You shrink your voice to keep control. You manage the threat, but it takes a toll. There's stability, the you that's trying to keep things intact. What you feel is the pattern unwind. You are no longer lost in the mind. Climb the staircase, breath by breath. Let presence be your steady lift. From fear to peace, from shame to grace. Climb the staircase to sovereignty. When You feel the courage to live what's true, to honor your values and what you do. You choose your voice without defense, even if the world stays tense. That's integrity, the you that remembers what you stand for.
What you feel is steady ground. Truth walks with you, strong and sound. Climb the staircase, breath by breath. Let your truth be the lift through doubt. From fear to peace, from shame to grace. Climb the staircase to sovereignty.
When you feel unshaken, calm inside, you no longer chase or need to hide. You know your worth is not up for trade. You walk through life unafraid. That's freedom, the you that trusts the road ahead. What you feel is space to be rooted, open, wild and free.
Climb the staircase,